welcome to the first BeyondMe podcast. So today I'm going to be talking to Madeleine Evans, founder of Finance Matters, a London-based social enterprise working to put sustainability at the heart of finance. So first thing first, what is social finance and why is it important?
Social finance is a way of thinking about conceiving products to ensure that they explicitly address local needs of communities and our environment. So it's really, in a way, sort of the next generation finance and the one that's going to support a sustainable economy going forward.
Great. Okay. And so is that what inspired you to set up Finance Matters, the idea of that really becoming a part of our economy and the way that finance works? Or?
My co-founder Roberta Benedetti Del Rio and I started Finance Matters really to address the lack of a coherent one-stop shop for finance professionals who want to have careers with real material, social, and environmental impact. Our mission is to provide finance professionals with the tools they need to put sustainability at the heart of their career, whether that be knowledge, skills, network, or just self-confidence.
Do you think businesses and the finance world is actually starting to change, is starting to take this idea of being more socially conscious more seriously? Is it a trend you see happening, or is there still a bit of work to do?
Definitely there's an increasing interest. Out of the financial crisis, some of the major financial institutions have seen significant reputation damage. They've had significant, really public risk to their license to operate, and they're needing to prove their relevance to local communities. And so social finance, in its best sense, is also a way for financial institutions to re-engage directly with the issues of the communities that they serve.
So what advice would you give to someone that is interested in social finance?
Okay, to be a high-quality impact investor who really has, call it, material positive impact, right?
Yeah.
To be successful, you need to know finance. You need to understand the tools, right? You also need to know impact, and there are specific tools around that as well. How do you identify the limited set of outcomes that you're trying to achieve?
Sure.
What are the metrics that you use to measure those? And how do you measure that over time to establish whether you're actually adding something to the world or just investing alongside, a transition in that outcome that would have already happened? But the third key aspect of this for somebody who wants to go into social finance, which really should mean wants to use the tools of finance to have positive impact in the world, is to know oneself, because it's a values-driven activity.
Yeah, of course.
And having a clear picture of the change that you want to see in the world should absolutely be the first step before trying to find tools to affect that change.
I like that. That's a good one. So you have a full-time career in the finance world, as well as running Finance Matters in your spare time. So you clearly have a very busy life. So what drives you when you're coming home at the end of a long day and you've still got all the Finance Matters things to do?
It's funny. Different people have asked me that question before, and I think it's really, although I'm working in finance, I actually get a lot of energy from running my own social startup. It requires me to use a completely different side of my brain.
Yeah.
It's questions like there's strategy, there's actually HR, how do you manage volunteers, what should our product look like, all those kinds of things. So, I have I call it sort of a public or service orientation, actually a degree in public policy as well. So whatever I do needs to have that outward impact.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's really that entrepreneur's drive that I think fuels my actions, and to me that's the desire to create newer, better things for the world and the power to envision new futures, for the communities around me.
Yeah. Okay, great. Do you think there will be a time where sustainable business is the norm?
We don't really have any other choice. I mean, you're seeing movements in every industry, in fits and starts in certain ways, but I think the difficulty is really, conceptualizing and then orienting an entire business around sustainable practices. Not easy. I think this takes visionary leadership, and there are still way too few high-quality visionary CEOs whose vision encompasses both profit and purpose.
And what about Finance Matters? What are your future plans for that?
In the future, we're likely to look for a partner in order to improve our ability to reach scale with something that we are doing on the side of our jobs. A partner who has existing technology and marketing infrastructure that can provide that leverage for what we already do without having to reinvent the wheel and reinvest in entirely new infrastructure. And whose objectives, of course, are consistent with ours in order to move to that next stage.
So a big thing at BeyondMe is we are all about encouraging future leaders with our program. That's what we hope to do. So what 3 words do you think best describe a good leader?
The 3 words for me are strategic. Okay. So having a broad view over the market, understanding the customer, and understanding what you're really trying to do. Yeah. and making the right decisions to get there in the most efficient way possible. Yeah. Critical, right? But then leader is also about having followers, right? So for me, one of the most critical aspects about being a leader is being inclusive. Dictatorial leadership isn't sustainable, but inclusive leadership is, and empowering leadership. Yeah. And lastly, transparent or transparency. Communication is absolutely critical in all areas of our life, and it enables us to get the right things done in the most efficient way.
Great, okay. And then, so we are also a movement that is all about promoting generosity in leadership and making people more generous. What does generosity mean to you?
I think generosity is really a mindset. And not necessarily manifest in specific actions or things like that. But to me, it's really about viewing the assets that you or I have as abundant and therefore easily shared at zero personal cost. Yeah. Generosity has to be effortless.
Yeah. Oh, great. I like that. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today.